Today will be all about the E bar chord shape. Now there's a couple of things I want you to understand before we dive into the exercise today. Because the exercise I have for today is all about developing strength and comfort with the E bar chord shape. But first of all, what is the E bar chord shape? Let me explain. We have a regular E chord, actually normally fretted like so. Index finger on the first fret of the G, ring finger on the second fret of the D, middle finger second fret of the A. Now, if I were to move that chord, it doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound horrible, but it doesn't sound great. And the reason when I move that chord is I'm only moving the fretted notes. Those open strings are staying the same. So pretend for just a second if you had to actually bar the nut of your guitar to achieve the sound of that E chord. Still an E shape, but it looks more like a bar chord right now. Well, when I move it up a fret, that's still an E-shaped bar chord, but since I've changed the root, which is the lowest note that actually names the chord, this is now an F chord, but it's an E shape. So the first distinction I want you to be very clear on is that a chord has a shape and then a chord has what it truly is. So this case is a great example. This is an E-shaped F chord because the root is up here on the low E string and it happens to be an F note, making that an F chord. Now that we've got the geekiness out of the way, let's get into the actual exercise. And this exercise is to help you gain strength and comfort with this E-shaped movable bar chord. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually make the chord. And using kind of a staccato, almost like as if you're pushing a button, we're going to go through the chord and make sure that we understand what pressure is required for each and every note. So let's look at the first part of this exercise. The first part of this exercise consists of essentially making that E-shaped F chord. So our index finger is laying across the first fret, low E string to the high E string. And then we're going to place our ring finger on the third fret of the A string, pinky finger just beneath that on the third fret of the D, and then middle finger on the second fret of the G string. And of course, if we strum that whole thing, that will be an E-shaped F chord, commonly referred to as just an F chord. Now, the first part of this exercise consists of playing each of those notes in kind of a nice quarter note rhythm, a nice steady quarter note rhythm. We're going to do a downstroke on each of the strings, starting on the low E, going to the A, the D, the G, the B, the E. And what I'm going to have you do is lift up pressure after playing the notes. So we're going to press like a button. We're going to press the chord down and then lift it up for each string. So for the low E string, it'll sound like this. The next string, it'll sound like this. The D, the G, the B, the high E, and then we're actually going to go ahead and redo that. We're going to not redo it. We're going to descend it. So that was the ascending portion. Now we're going to descend from the high E back to the low E. So high E, B, B, G, D, A, and low E. Okay, now the reason I'm having you press the button and then remove pressure from the button, i.e. press pressure on the chord and then remove pressure from the chord, is because I want you to get used to the kind of balance of strength, the distribution of pressure through the whole entire chord shape. Because as you'll notice, we don't really have to, with our index finger, have pressure down on the A, D, or G string. So really what we're most concerned about with the index finger is the low E, the B, and the high E. Those other three strings we don't have to focus our efforts on. So that being the case, you can really dial in what makes a good clean bar chord sound for you. And that's the first part of the exercise. The second part of the exercise is that we're going to take that chord, we're going to hold it down. We're not concerned with that staccato kind of pressure on, pressure off thing now. Now we're concerned with holding the chord down and playing through the chord, one string at a time, but this time we're going to do it in an eighth note sequence, meaning we're going to use alternate picking and go down on the low E, up on the A, down on the D, up on the G, down on the B, and up on the high E. Once we get to that high E, we're going to reverse the pattern. Down on the high E, up on the B, down on the G, up on the D, down on the A, up on low E. So with a count, that's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So you'll be ending on an upstroke. Now, the reason I'm starting you off with just quarter notes and kind of that pressure on, pressure off is because I want you to isolate those difficult notes to fret. For me, it's the B string. It's always the B string. It seems as though even if I feel like I have a good solid bar chord or good solid grip on the bar chord, I'll get kind of a fuzzy B note. So that's one that I want to isolate. Once during that quarter note sequence, once you get that dialed in and nice and clean, then take it to the eighth note sequence where you can then really get a good, nice, solid ringing chord like so. Just a nice, good, firm, solid bar chord. So this exercise really has two parts, and it's all about developing their E-shaped bar chord. And there's a couple of pitfalls here, and the first one is speed. Okay, I don't want you to approach this fast. This isn't about playing the chord fast. This isn't about picking through the single strings fast. This is actually about troubleshooting this E-shaped bar chord so that when you go to play it a single note at a time where they're all supposed to blend together, that you get a nice lush sounding chord and not a buzzy, clunky chord. So take your time with this. We're going to start at 40 beats per minute, move to 60 beats per minute, and then move to 80 beats per minute. If you happen to have any trouble at all with doing the exercise in its entirety, just split it in half. Do the quarter note version until you get that nice and solid, and then go to the eighth note version and then get that nice and solid. So with that being said, I wish you luck. Make sure to stretch your hands out because this could cause some cramping. And of course, by the end, your forearm and your index finger will probably be burning, so get an ice pack nearby, and best of luck to you. I hope you really dug this lesson, and if it helped you out, please let me know by leaving a comment below. And of course, if I forgot anything that would help your fellow guitar players out, you can put that below as well. And one more thing. If you like this lesson, you're absolutely going to love my 5-day acoustic guitar challenge. It's a brand new acoustic guitar exercise delivered to your inbox for 5 days straight. It's going to help bolster brand new techniques, really ramp up your practice habit, and give you stuff to add to your playing nearly immediately. All you have to do to sign up is click the link in the description or here in the video, and within 10 seconds you could be playing your very first acoustic guitar challenge exercise. I hope you try it out, and I can't wait to see you on the next lesson. If you like this lesson, you're absolutely going to love my 5-day acoustic guitar challenge. It's a brand new acoustic guitar exercise delivered to your inbox for 5 days straight. It's going to help bolster brand new techniques, really ramp up your practice habit, and give you stuff to add to your playing nearly immediately. All you have to do to sign up is click the link in the description or here in the video, and within 10 seconds you could be playing your very first acoustic guitar challenge exercise. I hope you try it out, and I can't wait to see you on the next lesson.